Hi there. Today I'm going to show you the way that you can use Classpad.net to help students visually show their thinking. There's lots of ways because of its ability to do multiple representations. So this is a problem adapted from the illustrative math task. It's actually from the Achieve the Core website, so I put the link here. But it's about a person who has two different types of players that need to be charged, an MP3 player and a video game player. And one has 40% life, charges at 12% every 15 minutes, and the other one's new, so he doesn't quite know how fast it's charging, so he starts to record some data. So they're given some information, and then down here they are given a different representation, so we're able to do a table that shows the new ones, so he can try to figure out what is the percent. So the first thing that you can have students do is you can have them writing their thinking. So it's always nice maybe to start with notice and wondering. What do you notice about the problem itself? What are some quantities that seem important to you? Write that down. And because of text boxes, so that's what this is, students are able to write their thinking. So visually demonstrate what they see. So I'm just going to put a couple to show you. And to start typing, you simply start typing. So let's say maybe they notice the MP3 is at 40% already. The new one is at 20%. And how do they know that? Because at 0 in the table, percent is 20. So it's interpreting a table right away. So we have verbal interpretation up here about the MP3 play. We also have a table interpretation. So right away we've already started them thinking about different things. So maybe they notice something else. We have to calculate, have to figure out the rate for the game player from the table. So they've noticed that. We know the MP3 is 12% each 15 minutes. All right, so just some noticing, some wondering, things to make them think, how are they connecting? Do they understand the problem? So then as we scroll down, so notice we can have the problem, we have tables, we have places with directions, places for them to write their thinking, and then we give them a situation. So he's planning to leave when they say, and so here we go, an hour before they plan to leave. So how much time do they have left? They have 60 minutes because that's what an hour is. So maybe they already figured that out. And so it says, how much will be charged of each if they actually leave in 60 minutes? Well, if we look at this, the new one, we've already got a table started here, right? So we could just continue the table for the other one up to 60 minutes. So let's do that. So maybe one approach might be, one representation, one way to think about it is to do a table. So they continue this table. So it looks like the table's going up by 10 minutes. So we're going to do up to 60. And so then now they're looking for patterns. So this is a nice thing about a table, a representation that's a table, is students looking for patterns. And so from 20, in the first 10 minutes, they go from 20 to 32. That's a plus 12. So I'm just going to do some things. So maybe we have them thinking about their math on the side, maybe they write it in the text. And then from 32 to 44, that's also plus 12. So maybe I'm noticing a pattern. And if I went from 44 to 56, that also seems to be plus 12. So it looks like the pattern for the game player is also 12%, but it's every 10 minutes and not every 15 minutes. So what have I just noticed? I've noticed a different rate. So I could say here, rate for the game is 12 over 10, right? And we already know that the rate for the MP3 is 12 over 15. So which one's charging faster? Well, obviously, if you're going to 12 and 10, you're going faster. So right now, what have we noticed? The game is going faster. So now let's say I want to say, okay, let's get a table. So all they have to do is pull out a table from their options here, and now we can do a table. And let's do one. We're doing the MP3 player. And what do we know about the MP3 player? Well, we know that it's 12% every 15 minutes. So maybe the time I want on this one is different. I want 0, 15, 30, 45, and 60 because I want 15 minutes. Where did it start? So I might go back up to the problem. I might go to my noticing and wonderings. I have lots of ways to represent my thinking and to go back and check myself. So it started at 40. So if I add 12 to that, I get 52, 64, 76, and 88. So I've answered it using a table, right? So that's one way they can do it. But notice the directions say, use whatever you need, a calculator, graph, tables, etc. So we used a table, so we know our answer is MP3 will be 88 in an hour. And we haven't finished this one out. We're going to continue the pattern. So here we're going to get, add 12, we're going to get 68. Add 12, we're going to get 80. Add 12, we're going to get 92. So the game will be at 92% in an hour. But notice it says, show two different ways to explain your thinking. So we kind of did it. We did a rate here. So maybe then they say, well, since I figured out the rate, that's sort of a slope, I could have used an equation. So what are my equations? Well, let's pull up a calculate sticky. So again, the nice thing about this is you have lots of different ways. So my equation, or my expression really, is for the MP3 player, it's 12 over 15, that's my rate, times my time. Well, what is my time? My time is an hour, so 60 minutes. And I know I started at 40%. And so using an equation or an expression, so I could use this equation. Use equation. And I probably want to use my math type, so that's the nice thing about these. You can actually do math type here so that I can see my expressions. So that's the one for, so this equals my percent, total percent, my Y, okay? And then for the other one, it would be 12 over 10, which we figured out from the table already. And it started at 20, and that's going to be the percent, for this one. And so we could take this and do a calculation using our expression and put 60 in here instead of X. And we get 92. So we verified our answer. So the reason you tend to want them to do at least two different ways is they're verifying their solution. So I used an expression to help me verify my solution that I found in the table. Another thing you could do is use your graph, right? You could actually graph your equations that you came up with. So again, multiple ways to have students explain their thinking. So they could actually get a graph and put these expressions they came up with in there. Actually, we're going to use equations this time. So Y is going to represent the percent, and X is going to represent our time. And now we're just going to graph each of them and see if we can see the solutions on the graph. And so the whole idea here is they're learning how to represent their thinking in multiple ways and show their solutions in multiple ways to verify what they're thinking. Whoops, we forgot Y equals. So notice I don't see anything in the graph. That's because I haven't zoomed in. So let's kind of zoom so that we can see the graph, because obviously we start at 0. So let's kind of move it down there. So I could say, where is the graph at, what am I looking for? 60 minutes. So we're looking for 60. So maybe then I even graph X at 60, because X represents time. So I see the intersection of those two. So here is where it's crossing the blue line, and that's at 88, and here's where it's crossing the red line. Let's try that again. And that's at 92. So of the graph. And then you could even say, well, what's this point mean? Because you have this graph. What's 50, 80 mean? And that means at 50 minutes, they're each going to be at 80% charge. So those are interesting things that can come from the graph. So each representation. So the whole idea here is to show you that you can use ClassPad to show students' thinking, and they can do it in many ways. They can write about it, they can do tables and explain their tables, they can do calculations and explain to show their work, right? They could use graphs to show their work and explain this. So it's a lot of combining things. So writing, visuals, doing calculations. So it's wonderful to be able to have all these representations that students can show you in one place all the different ways that they're thinking about this problem. And because you have all these options, you always want to make sure that you ask them to do at least 2 different representations, because then it not only helps you understand that they really what they're thinking, but it helps them understand the different ways things look and to verify their solutions.